Imagine this, you've got $10,000 sitting in a high-yield savings account, earning a nice, clean 4%. You open your banking app and you see the numbers slowly ticking up. Every day, a little more money. And for a second, you feel like a financial genius. You think you are doing everything right by avoiding market volatility and securing a guaranteed return. But while you sleep, invisible forces are quietly siphoning off almost every penny of that growth. You are told that official inflation is hovering around 3%, slowly trending downward. And yet, if you look at your everyday life, you would be hard-pressed to identify anything that feels only 3% more expensive. What is actually happening to your money? The Federal Reserve defines inflation as a general increase in the overall price level of goods and services. They monitor price indexes, like the Personal Consumption Expenditures Index, aiming for a stable 2% annual inflation rate. But that official definition hides the underlying mechanics. At its core, inflation is a slow flood caused by monetary debasement. It happens when governments spend more than they collect and simply create more money to cover the gap. This new money is not backed by real productivity, new goods, or new service, but think of it like this. Imagine a room with 10 apples and $10 in circulation. Each apple is worth roughly $1. If the government prints 10 more dollars, but the number of apples stays exactly the same, each apple now costs $2. The apple did not change at all. The money simply got weaker. When digital zeros are added to the supply, the state effectively takes value from the work produced by everyone in the economy.
Take a taxi driver who completes a ride today and earns $10. If the state expands the money supply, it devalues the money the driver just earned.
The driver worked at 100% productivity, but only keeps 99% of the real value. So why does the official inflation rate feel disconnected from your reality? Because the statistics are deeply flawed. Economists measure inflation using a basket of consumer goods. But the math inside that basket is heavily manipulated. First, consider housing. The government does not measure actual house prices directly in this basket. Instead, they survey homeowners and ask what they think they could rent their house for. This owner's equivalent rent completely ignores massive real-world costs like mortgage interest, property taxes, and maintenance. Second, the government uses quality adjustments. If a new phone costs more but has a better camera and processor, statisticians actually adjust the price downward in their inflation basket to compensate for the improved quality. You are paying a higher price tag at the store, but the official data pretends you got a discount. On top of this statistical illusion, products are literally getting worse. Companies engage in a process where they offer the same product at the same price, but skimp on materials or build quality to save costs. Add in dynamic pricing algorithms that track your habits to extract the absolute highest possible price from you, and the reality of your purchasing power looks nothing like the
Official numbers. But the biggest trap isn't just the hidden cost at the grocery store. It is the lethal combination of inflation and taxes systemically killing your savings.
If you earn 4% on your savings and inflation is 3%, you probably think you are up by 1%. You are not. The IRS views your savings interest as ordinary income, completely ignoring inflation. If you are in the 22% tax bracket, the government takes nearly a quarter of your 4% yield right off the time. This drops your actual nominal return down to just 3.12%. Now, subtract the 3% inflation rate. Your real return is effectively zero.
The government taxes you on nominal dollars. It is a hidden tax on a shrinking asset. Our brains love seeing numbers get bigger.
A psychological blind spot called the money illusion. Your balance goes from 10,000 to 400, and your brain registers a victory. In reality, you are running on a financial treadmill. We have another blind spot called anchoring bias. We grab the most visible data point, like the price of gas at the pump, and use it as our proxy for the entire economy. We treat a spike in gas as an annoying, temporary inconvenience. But gas is only wave one. Wave two is groceries, because a massive spike in diesel fuel means the cost of moving refrigerated food goes vertical. Wave 3 is fertilizer, which operates on a delay and bakes massive price hikes into the food you will eat months from now. By the time the 4th and 5th waves hit, airfare and rising interest rates, most people are completely unprepared.
This quiet mechanism of debasement has destroyed the wealth of millions of ordinary, hard-working people throughout history. Look at Germany in 1923, Argentina in 2001, or Zimbabwe in 2008. In every single one of these crises, the people who suffered the most catastrophic losses were not gamblers or speculators. They were the cautious people who played by the rules and placed complete trust in the system. They saved their money in cash, bought long-term government bonds, and relied on fixed pensions. Those assets are nothing more than paper contracts written in the currency. When the currency is diluted, the contracts provide absolutely no protection. The government might pay you every penny you were promised, but the money won't buy anything. If you project this current environment out over a decade, the reality is devastating. Let's say you leave $10,000 in a 4% savings account. After 10 years of compounded interest, you might have $13,600 on paper. But when you adjust that for 10 years of 3% inflation, your actual purchasing power is only worth around $10,126. You spent a decade with your money locked away, paid your taxes, and your grand reward is about $126 of real value. It is a 10-year flatline. You stood completely still while the rest of the world got far more expensive. You cannot save your way out of a devaluing currency. A high-yield savings account is a tool for short-term liquidity and emergency funds, not for legacy wealth building.
To survive the slow erosion of actual inflation, you must step outside the paper promise system. You need assets that cannot be multiplied uncontrollably by a central bank. Historically, the people who survived currency resets held physical property, agricultural land, and hard assets. Today, that includes precious metals like gold or newer decentralized technologies like Bitcoin. Most importantly, it means owning productive businesses that create tangible goods or services, because those businesses can simply adapt to the new economic reality by raising their prices.
The system relies on the gradual devaluation of your currency to fund its own objectives. Stop paying the hidden tax on your future.
Break the addiction to nominal numbers, build real assets, and protect your purchasing power before the next wave arrives.